All right, so let's go ahead and look at some couple stocks for this week, right? Starting off with CLF. So what we're noticing right here is a lot of bounces up and down in this channel. I'm gonna go ahead and circle some of them just to show, right? Very consistent. It's very consistent with these moves up and down, which of course can be buying and selling points. We did see a little breakdown there, but then it bounced back up. Didn't quite make it back to the top of that zone, right? At the top of that channel. So it's interesting to see where we're at now. We're back down at the bottom for the M side day candle. So what I would do is go ahead and watch to see if it's going to break above the highs or if it's going to break down. Okay, so this could go either way. Preferably, I like to trade it to the upside. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just watch to see if it makes a move about 5 or 6 cents above this high. Then I'll go ahead and ride it back up, with this potentially being my first area for exit because that's the most recent resistance. All right, so we see kept getting pushed down around there. So it could be a day trade, could be a short-term swing. If you get multiple contracts, then of course could ride it up, see if it makes it back to the top of that channel if you have contracts with enough time on them. Swing over to Facebook. Facebook, kind of the same thing, right? So again, another upward channel, right? And the way you could tell is you see these higher highs, right? You see these lows, and it's just bouncing up and down consistently. Sorry about that. Consistently in this channel. So now, same sort of situation where we have the potential for this to make a move back to the upside, right? We can see it might even make a move up towards 400 area in the coming days. Okay, so there's another one looking for swings again. Of course, you could day trade it, but I'm looking for swings, and I could potentially grab it and ride it out back up here. Not saying it'll be a straight shot like that, but with a couple of ups and downs, but within, maybe 2-3 weeks, we see it getting out back into this 370, 380 area, where it previously had resistance over there to the left. Swing over to ET. Okay, this one, it's looking like it's most likely going to break down instead of breaking out to the upside. Another one where you just watch and see, right? Not something to jump on immediately. It could do a little more sideways chop, but we're seeing that it's continuously moving lower, finding that support at this $9 area. So of course, if it breaks down below this low here, which is 871, right? The low for Thursday. If we zoom in, see in the left-hand corner, 871, right? If we go ahead and break that, then we could go ahead and see another wave down, right? Otherwise, we're going to look for it to the upside. Then, of course, it can take out certain levels of resistance horizontally. Deer, one I threw on Facebook and Instagram, posted it earlier today. Simple thing, right? See a trend line of support. Where we're identifying this is just simply, again, seeing those bounces over and over again. Okay, we see a pretty fair area of horizontal support right around here. We see a couple of rejections have already occurred before. So that would be our profit area, potential exit. And then there's also a gap above, which could serve as exit number 1. Right, so a small gap above, sitting around that 371 area. So another simple swing trade that could ride it out over, over the next couple of weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks. Could see it, 1, fill that gap, and 2, potentially even make its way back up to 389 as it was before. Other end of it would be just having a stop loss if it drops below the trend line. Right, drops and closes below the trend line, could look at it as a potential stop loss. Again, trend lines, I drew it myself, right? So it's not something that's specifically based off the numbers. I'm sure there's a way you can calculate it, but I'm not doing that. But if I do see it close below, then that could act as a stop loss. And then, of course, we can protect ourselves from risk. Netflix. Okay, so Netflix have a nice run up right on Thursday to the tune of 21.84. So a big run up would have been wonderful to play calls on. If you caught calls, great. Um, Now we're faced with that trend line resistance. So what we're looking at now is two things. Of course, it could break out. In the event of a breakout, then we'd be looking at it to hit that resistance up there around 585, 586. Outside of that, we see the last two times it actually rejected it. Last three times. So 1, 2, 3. Right now, here we are again. History is showing that that would be the reaction right down to that support area. So one that could go both ways, but most likely would be a play, or could easily be a play just to the downside, especially if the market turns bearish after this big run it's had lately. This could be one that moves back down to that support area around 505. And then lastly, Delta Airlines. Delta's at a major support level, right? This 38 or so area is where it's already found support earlier in the year, so that was January. All right, we see here it did it again in July, one in early August, and now we're back. All right, so simple thing, we do have a gap to fill below. All right, so that's something to potentially note. If there is a gap below, not necessarily saying it has to fill, right? But it's possibilities. We're gonna drag that out. Okay, so if we do see a continuation, and this formed the inside day as well, right? So it'll just be a matter of setting an alert, which is what I'll do for the other ones as well. Move that. So this day, the low was 37.31. And so I'll just set that alert for 37, maybe even 21. All right, so that way I'll know to come back. And since I have my phone sideways, it's a little hard to get up there on that alert, but I'll go back and adjust the price so that it actually reflects it being down here. But that's as simple as something like that, right? Boom. That worked too. Cool. So there you go, though. Right, Delta